Happy Halloween, everyone. I have to leave in a little bit, so I'm gonna hurry up. I just want to talk about the Agatha and the Agatha. I want to talk about Agatha all along, give like my full thoughts as we had the series finale. For those who don't know, the series follows Agatha Harkness, who after the events of WandaVision is stuck in Wanda Maximoff's spell. She's living TV life of like a mayor of Easttown kind of person. And then with the help of Aubrey Plaza, she escapes and now powerless, she goes on the witch's trail to try and reclaim her power and assembles a coven to help her do that. And then the question remains, will she regain her power or her humanity? I'm surprised I did that right off the dome. I might not even have to cut after that. I'm pretty proud of myself. Let's just start off with the elephant in the room. This show for the majority was just okay to me. Like until the last, I say to episodes 1 through 4 or 5, the show was operating on the friends we make along the way, like silly hijinks. It was fun, but it wasn't like, oh my god, I'm like obsessed with the show. It wasn't there for me yet. And mainly it's because Disney Plus shows, they've burnt me before. I have invested so much time into those shows. I can name like Moon Knight, Mrs. Marvel, She-Hulk, like literally all of them. I invested so much time in them and I enjoy them for the most part. Like I remember I was really digging Moon Knight, and then that series finale hit and it was just a rush mess. Like She-Hulk was an okay finale, but it really muddled itself towards the end to the point where when that finale hit, it was like putting a band-aid on a bullet hole. Like, I'm not trying to hate on She-Hulk, by the way. I'm not one of those incels that like hate because those people like chill the fuck out, honestly. But I think what really got around to me at Agatha was Giova. Giova is obsessed with Agatha, and then she really helped me see it in sort of a different light of, this is just a show about fun witches doing witchy things, absolutely serving. And then once I kind of saw through that light, and I started to say, this is not a Marvel show. This is just a regular witch show. This is something I could have maybe found streaming on like Freeform or something like that. And then the finale hit, and basically all those silly hijinks right out the window. We got into it and they did not miss a single minute. There were no jokes. Like usually there's like it's very like Marvel fluff kind of humor and like a little bit of like horror. Like mostly we hadn't really got like much drama into like most of the episodes. And then the final 2 episodes hit and absolutely nothing was wasted. Aubrey Plaza, immediately the villain. We get exactly what she wants, and Catherine Hahn is absolutely insane in this. She really opens up as Agatha in a way that we've never seen her before. She doesn't waste a single second. Like she's immediately vulnerable in there, and it's interesting because this is the first time we truly see her turn the switch on and off from being Agatha Harkness from being Agatha Harkness to being the mom who lost her child. That switch gets turned on and off a lot, and it mixes a lot in the final 2 episodes in a way that was really compelling. It kept me engaged throughout the whole thing, because you're just wondering, what is she going to do now? What is she going to do now? What's she doing? Like, is that like a real smile? Is that fake? Like, it was really interesting. The cast is absolutely insane. Like, you have Patti LuPone in this. Like, you have Aubrey Plaza, Joe Locke, like I'm not trying to hate on Joe Locke, but Giova will agree with me. Please comment down so I'm not the only one saying this. This show just got Kit Connor, dyed his hair black, had to be Wiccan. I'm sorry, Joe Locke, you still need to spend some time in acting school. That's all I'm saying. You're doing better. You're trying. That's all that matters. You're trying, but other than him, and he's really not that bad either. Like I like giving him shit. I like giving him shit just because he's always pinned against the greatest actors, whether it's upcoming actors or like actual legends. Yeah, other than that, like the cast is absolutely stacked, and I loved how we get like individual moments with them. Like each episode is kind of centered around a witch. And I like how it wasn't like this witch died in her episode, this witch died in her episode. Like we would get her episode and then we would stay with her for a little bit longer and just see like how her particular episode like kind of like adapted her arc like through the majority of the show. I really like that because it could have just been, we get her episode, she dies. Get her episode, die. That would have been really boring and predictable, but it keeps going as to which witch is going to go. I found that really entertaining. The trials themselves, I'm not the biggest like witchy person. Like I just started Harry Potter and although I'm really liking it, like I'm still like not fully there. Like if you have a dragon, I'm probably not gonna like it. I'm sorry. I liked how it talked about like culture of witches, and not necessarily like witch culture, but like how we perceive witch culture. Like the end credits, like they talk, like they like show like a bunch of like pop culture, like Lisa Simpson and Hocus Pocus and Practical Magic, and like a bunch of like news article findings, like real ones too, like, and a bunch of like animated shows, like showing like how we perceive witches and like what the actual like thing is, and how witches react to how we see them, like how they react to brooms, like how they react to brooms and to movies about them. I found that really interesting, and I also liked how they didn't like overplay the witchiness, because it could have gone like full blown bananas, and some people might have liked that. Me personally, I would not have liked that. So I liked how it did have some parameters around the supernatural elements, especially because I'm not like fully there. When it comes to like, let's just talk about maybe like visuals for a little bit before I get more into like characters. Visuals at like, it's very quick. Like there's nothing like amazing about it. In fact, like one of my like gripes about any show is like when they switch aspect ratios so violently, and they do that a lot here. Episode 6 I think is probably the most visually stunning episode in my opinion. I'm speaking 10 minutes, I've been speaking for 10 minutes now. But when it came to relationships, I feel like when it came to relationships and characters though, I felt like a lot of people were underutilized. Like Aubrey Plaza was probably hands down my favorite part of the show. I've loved her since Parks and Rec, and she's honestly one of our greatest actors we have right now. Like if we really think about it, like she's done them all. She's done she's done like some really like out there comedies. She's done the sitcom. She's done some really hardened indie movies and everything in between. Like she's really a very versatile actress, and I love everything that she does, and this, like, she absolutely eats it up. Like this is the role she's born to play. Like I don't know if you ever seen Parks and Rec or anything she's done before, but she's even talked about in real life, like she's always wanted to play a witch. And that was really interesting, and that was like really fun to see, because I know that like that was like an actual dream of hers, and she does not waste a second. Like she's so like unpredictable and spontaneous, and she like exudes this like level of, and she just exudes this like level of, I'm just brat, honestly. Like she's very like comfortable. She's in her element. She's very comfortable in the way that she like flirts with like Catherine Hahn, or like, but she was like barely in it if we really think about it. Like they kind of rushed her being a villain. Because like before then we really didn't have a set villain before the series finale. Like the villain was essentially just the witch trials. Rio and Agatha's relationship could have been developed a lot more, because that is the backbone of the show, especially towards the latter end. Let's just talk about it then, I guess. Let's just talk about the finale, because I kind of have my same complaints about all of them. Like when it comes to Patti LuPone, and the other witches besides Joe Locke, like I'm not gonna call him Billy. I'm sorry, I'm just not right now. Like I felt like they could have been utilized a lot more, but they just weren't. That's just life, whatever. We were left off with the major cliffhanger of Billy. It's gonna be weird calling him Billy now. Should have been Kit. It should have when Billy created the road, and that was really interesting to me, and how they explored that. And I was almost pissed, because I was like, all right, where now? Like Rio's dead, Agatha's dead. You created the road. Like, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna go find Tommy? I thought we were gonna get another Joe Locke episode. But we open in 1765, and it wasn't just like a one scene. Like we see Agatha giving birth, and Rio is there, and we just get the full context. Her son was about to die, and because Rio loved Agatha and they had a relationship, she was like, I'll give you time. That's another thing I wish they could have explored. Like, it's not like Rio wants to do this. Like, I don't think she wants to kill anyone, but it's her job, essentially. She's deaf, but she has to do it. And I felt like that could have been explored a little bit more, because she does kind of like, you can tell she really does love Agatha. She really does care. It kind of sucks that we just like didn't get to see that in the final few episodes. Like she was a little bit too one-dimensional. I mean, besides like, you know, her having an affection towards Agatha, and also Shadow Giova, she called it. Rio killed his son, and that's why Agatha hates her, and that's why they have a complicated relationship. Like she called that, so like shout out to her. Pop off. But I really liked how we spent a lot of time with Agatha and Nicholas, and we're just like spending time with them. We're not really exactly like getting like a bunch of like villains and plots. Like it's really just like we're just spending time and like really like seeing this relationship form together, and how like Agatha, like she was just killing witches so she can survive and she can provide for her son, and she was also a little bit power hungry, and that kind of drive and that like feed to get more power kind of like hung on her. I really liked that. And I also liked how the witches song was actually just them like going, because they're essentially nomads, her and her son, they're essentially nomads, and I like how that song was created for like them to like seeing as they're like going from town to town and killing witches, and like seeing how her lose her way and using the song to create, like I thought well done, like how like it turned out that it was a huge con Agatha did for centuries and centuries to gain power because she didn't have her son, and she just got power hungry because she had no one to provide for. She was doing it to provide for her son, and without that, she kind of just lost her way. I really thought that was well done, and because it could have just been a sentence. It really could have just been a sentence. Like it could have just been like, I think it was like the very like last like 20 minutes where Agatha was like, yeah, it was just a pawn, you know, my son and I made it up. It was just a pawn. It wasn't real. You made it. Like, it could have just said that. But no, we spend majority of the last episode with Agatha getting a very subtle and nuanced and emotional explanation as to what happened to her and what the road is. I'm not going to get like too into the woods about the final 15-10 minutes because it's kind of just straightforward. We're seeing Joe Locke a lot. He's going to be a main young Avenger. He's going to be with Haley Steinfeld, Catherine Noon, Miss Marvel. That's all going to happen. I don't know if Agatha's going to follow him now, because I didn't really understand that either. Like, I don't think Agatha wants to spend the rest of her time hanging out with Billy and like being like a guide. Like, and I thought that it was rushed that like Billy just wanted to kill Agatha all of a sudden, like banish her. Like, I felt like that was really rushed. I really liked the show. I'd give it 4 out of 5 stars in a heart. I really enjoyed it.